Welcome back to Angie and Christie Right Now. Today we're joined by a USA Today bestselling author whose stories are brimming with heart, humor, and hope. Our guest is known for crafting character-driven romances that readers describe as laugh-out-loud funny, a little swoony, and always deeply uplifting. Whether she's writing contemporary romances that sparkle with charm or historical westerns reminiscent of Bonanza and The Virginian, her books capture the spirit of love, resilience, and second chances. Her newest release, The Bridge, is a heartwarming holiday novel about 5 strangers whose lives collide on Christmas Eve in an unforgettable story of courage, connection, and the magic of second chances. Angie and I can vouch for the uplifting and touching emotions this book brought to us. And so we can't wait to dive into this author's storytelling. We are thrilled and honored to welcome Shanna Hatfield to the podcast. Shanna, thank you so much for coming on.
My goodness, thank you for inviting me. I am thrilled to be here with you ladies today and so excited to just visit about books and all that fun stuff.
Oh, excellent, because that's what we love to do too. Is there anything that you'd like to add to your introduction?
I would add, I grew up on a farm, so I'm used to the whole small town vibe, and a lot of that carries over into my stories. But The Bridge is set in a big city, and so for me that was a little different. But I feel like it managed to still keep that small town feel of community and helping one another. So it's fun for me to just be able to carry my roots into every project that I work on.
You completely accomplished that. That absolutely happened. So, with all of our authors, the first question that we always ask is, how did you know that you wanted to be an author, a writer? How did that all happen?
I always wanted to tell stories. My dad is a good storyteller, just oral storyteller, and my mom loved books, and she gave me that gift of loving books. She read to me every night when I was a little girl, and once I was big enough to read myself, like I said, we grew, lived on a farm, so getting to town wasn't something we did every day. But once a month, mom would take me to the county library and I would check out as many books as they would let me. And I just loved books. And so the very first story I wrote was in 4th grade about a raccoon. I remember writing that, but I wanted to be a writer, but everybody told me you aren't going to make a living doing that. You need to do something else. So I sort of still did writing. I went into journalism and worked for newspapers for 10 years, and then I switched gears to marketing, but I really, really missed writing, and I always loved to read. So 2010, I was reading a book that wasn't great, and I said to my husband, I can't believe a publisher invested money in this book, like I could do better than this. So he hit pause on his football game and said, then so do it. And so I did. I just sat down and started writing a book, and there we've gone from there. So the bridge is actually my 134th book. So
Oh my
Congratulations,
gosh.
first of all. That's
yeah.
amazing.
I think that's a record.
On our podcast, it is. Absolutely. That's fantastic. And
I just love it. I love everything about writing a book. I just feel very, very blessed to get to do something I love every day.
I have so many questions now that you've told us that. So, first of all, so the first thing is the book that you wrote in 2010, was it a romance? Did you start off right with
It
romance?
was. It was a romance about a couple that had been married for a while and had hit a really rough patch. And it's about how they find their way back to each other.
Oh my
That's,
gosh.
I know.
So 134 books from 2010 to 2025. That is amazing.
It is.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, so that
Once I
first,
got started, I just couldn't stop.
the first book, was that the first book that you published, or was that the first book you wrote? And did you try and get a publisher with that one?
I did try to get a publisher with that one. I sent out, I can't even tell you how many letters trying to find an agent or a publisher. I got back 67 rejection letters that were personally written. So to me, that was, I mean, it's hard, but it was also encouraging because they weren't just form letters. They were, oh, this book isn't the right fit for us now, but keep trying, keep working. And so I actually had a friend who, I don't know if you're familiar with Jane Kirkpatrick's work or not, but anyway, she grew up next to Jane. They're ranch people. Anyway, so Jane, I talked to her and she told me you should just self-publish. I think you do really well at it. So I dove into researching that and decided within like a couple days, yes, this is what I want to do. So I did a lot of research and I actually, when I published my first book, before I did that, I wrote two more books in the series. And then I wrote a prelude that I put up for free. And so instead of just having one book that released, I basically released four books. So people had something to go to next.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than waiting for the next book in the series to come out. There's nothing.
Like a year later.
Exactly. And then you feel like you have to reread the first book. So absolutely, that's great. So, okay, I can't do the math in my head right now, but 134 books in like 15 years. So that's like, how many books a year are you writing?
I try and write 10 books a year. Some years are less, some years are more, but that's kind of my goal number.
That is like flabbergasting and wow, that's amazing. So what's now I like now you got me going. What's a writing day like for you? Like, do you wake up at the crack of dawn and just like how many words a day are you writing?
On a good day, I that's that's a balanced day, I'll put it that way. On a
Okay.
balanced day, if I'm focused and working good, I can get around 10,000 words. If I'm on deadline and running late, I will work up until the wee hours of the morning. And the most words I've written in a single day were like 20 words short of 30,000 words.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing.
I am in awe. You're the goddess. Like, I mean, that is
Oh,
incredible.
um,
Wow.
but most days I try and write around 6 to 8,000 words. That's kind of a day
Still,
that gives me time to do other things.
you are putting us to shame.
So bad. We're like so bad.
No, like I said, it's my passion, it's my hobby, it's my career, it's everything. I just love it. I absolutely love it.
That's
So
amazing.
how do you come up with the ideas for the
Yeah.
stories?
Oh my gosh. So I think I've always had an overactive imagination. And so there's just, I don't know, the weirdest, like I can be flipping through a magazine and I'll see an ad, like a picture in an ad, or I'll see something. I'm like, well, this would make a fun story idea. Or, you overhear a conversation in line at the grocery store or the bank. Or my favorite way to brainstorm is to go for a drive with my husband. He's really, really good um, about letting me bounce ideas off of him. And so I feel like we come up with some really fun ideas when we're just taking a drive.
Oh my gosh, that sounds fun too.
It
It's
does.
because the scenery inspires you, and then being able to talk to someone about it is also inspiring. So I can see how that would be really helpful. And it's a romance novel, and you're with your husband, so that helps as well, I'm sure.
It does. It does.
Some quality time.
Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I'm still in shock. I feel like that is incredible, awesome. I wish I had that ability. Like, I mean, I think it's an ability that you're born with, like and it's almost like your brain is free to write it, whereas mine is like, no, 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 like that's amazing. It's fantastic. So
So oh, sorry.
no, go, go, go.
Oh, I was just
I was
wondering.
just gonna say my husband calls it when I'm in the zone. Like
Yes.
the whole world, there could be bombs going off outside, and I am just like singularly focused. I am in my characters, I'm in the story, and that like everything else is just background noise.
Amazing. Go ahead, Angie.
Oh, so I was just wondering, so when you're writing, are you writing just one book at a time, or are you writing two or three books at a time? Like,
Oh no, I'd never keep the characters straight. I'm a one thing at a time girl.
Okay.
Like I will write the book and then I usually have one that's coming back to the editor, one I'm sending off to the editor. So it's like they have to stay in their separate little divided areas, or I would get everything all confused.
Definitely, I can see that, especially with like so many books going on at the same time. Now, what's editing like for you? Like, is that, well, first of all, let me ask you, do you like drafting better, or do you like the editing part where you're like making the story a little bit better? Like, which one is your preferred
I
one?
do not like the editing part. I love just getting the words out, just telling the story. I love that part the most. That's the absolute cherry on top of everything, is just that first initial writing, that first draft. Editing is okay. I mean, it's something that I know makes my books way better. And so I just feel like that's super important to have the best editors we can have
I
to
agree.
do that.
Absolutely. Is your editor someone you've been dealing with for a long time? Like, or do you switch up? Because we've had self-publishing authors on who say like every couple of years they switch up their editors and whatever. So do you do you have the same editor for all your stories, or do you?
No, there's 4 different editors I use, and it just depends on if when they have time to
Yep.
work me into their schedule. They're all excellent. They all do a great job. I love working with all 4 of them, but it's just
Right.
kind of a rotation of, okay, who has time to edit this one? So, um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Fantastic.
was curious about as well, because it seems like, especially with a lot of books coming out, and do you have specific deadlines that you've made for yourself, or do you have, or like what are your deadlines like? Like how often do you publish your books?
I set my own deadlines. Sometimes I wish I would not be so, taskmaster about them, but I do set my own. So there is a little flexibility in there. But once I put a book up for pre-order, it's locked and done. Like that deadline cannot, that publishing date is set in stone as far as I'm concerned. So
How does it all work now? Because now that you've written and published so many books, like is it because I'm sure the first time that you self-published, it was like it took more time. You were trying to find like an editor, you were trying to find the cover, and even like the formatting and everything. So how does it work now that it's like almost second nature, I'm sure. So how does that work out for you?
well, I guess I've streamlined it as much as I possibly can. I do all my writing in Word. I have it like my templates are set, so the formatting's pretty simple that way. I've got
Okay.
that part down. The editing part, we have my editors, the covers. I do some of my own, and then I also have a great cover designer I work with. So it just depends on if I have a vision for the cover or I don't. Like the bridge is a cover that I did myself, but
It looks,
some of my other books are cover designer. So it just depends on the project.
That sounds
I
like fun though, like
I
because you have total
know.
control from the beginning to the end, and you set your own deadlines, you have your own vision, you get
I
to choose your
know.
covers. I mean, it's like I love that aspect of it. I mean, I'm always, because like Christy and I, we've toyed with the idea of self-publishing our books, and I think the one thing that we're kind of afraid of, like the formatting, like how do you format, and then and all the things that you don't know that is going to come up when you're trying to do it, because you just don't know. Like it's just
There's these great guides, like Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. They have templates that you can download. They have Kindle Creates. You can actually just upload your book into their software, and you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Ingram Spark, same thing. You have templates you can download, and it makes it really easy to just plug it in. Also, if you ever need a contact, I know a couple gals that's what they do. They format books for authors. So
See, that's what happens when you've done it a couple of times. You get the people that can help you to do that. So that's fantastic.
it helps to get to know people.
That's
Yes.
right. So the first books or series that you wrote, was it a Western or was it a contemporary?
it was contemporary, but they were cowboys. I love to write about cowboys. So yeah, it was a contemporary Western series.
So you move on from there and you move on to contemporary, or do you stay in the Western for a little bit?
I just kind of go back and forth. I have I have several series, and so there's some of them I just keep writing one book a year, in which we're back to that. You have to wait a year for the next book thing, but it's fun for me, and it just feeds my creativity because I'm not writing the same thing all the time. So, I might write a contemporary book set on the beach, and then I might write a historical book from World War I, and then I might write whatever else. And I feel like it just feeds the creative side of me a lot to not just be writing the same thing all the time.
I think that's also cool because when you do traditional publishing, sometimes you get locked into a specific genre or you can't really bounce around, or if you have an idea for a historical, but you're like locked into writing, contemporary, you can't go and do that. So I do like that as well. So yeah, because I think we would be completely all over the place.
Oh no, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But so after how long did it take you to figure out this is something good? This is like I want to keep doing this. And how do you market? Like how do you do your marketing and how quickly does your following, because you have a lot of readers that just are your readers, like they will follow you every book you write. And I can understand why, because we read The Bridge and I was like so joyful after reading that book. It was just like,
Oh,
oh,
yay.
oh no, 100%. So like how fast do you realize like, wow, this is gonna work for me?
Well, I think it started with the first book. Like, I just loved it so much. I wanted to keep doing it, even though I was getting the rejections. Like, I knew it was something that spoke to my heart that I had always wanted to do. I had always wanted to write a book. So, I just couldn't stop after that. So,
Can't blame
that's where it began. And then as far as marketing, I feel like I started that with that first series. Like I did my research and found out you can, if you want to grow, you've got to have more than one thing out there. And so that's why I wrote, the prelude and then the three full-length books. And so from there it was just lots of trial and error, lots of trial and error. This marketing thing didn't work. Oh, well, this one did. But the one thing I have found that has worked really well for me, and it's important to me, is to just make those personal connections with my readers. And I have a very active Facebook group, and I feel like for me, it's a joy to
it.
go in there because we just have fun. Like I share recipes and craft ideas, and we do Fun Friday. I always have a little giveaway, and so it's just a fun, safe place for people to hang out. And I've made so many good friends
Oh,
just from them reading my book and sending me a message of, "Hey, I love this book." And so it just feeds my heart to build those relationships. But I think that's where the basis of any successful career, regardless of what it is, comes from, is you build the relationships first and then the success follows.
agree with you.
I think it must be encouraging too if you have a group of people that are going to read your books, that are waiting for that next book to come out. And if you start feeling like it doesn't feel like it's worth it, or if you're just tired or something, being able to get recharged from having them around seems like it would be a beautiful thing that I think, well, because I'm in my 50s and there were so many authors that I loved, and I would have loved to have been able to just like be able to be in a Facebook group with them
Yes,
in the
right?
day.
There's still
Yeah,
authors I fangirl over, so yes, I agree.
yeah, it's so cool.
100%.
You know,
So I
Uh,
think that we should start talking about The Bridge, and we are just telling our audience right now we're going to be very careful what we say because there are spoilers. Like you want to read this book for so many reasons. One of them is how it's going to make you feel by the end of the story. Like I mean, I was like smiling. You can't help but smile at the end of the book. Is just like everything works out. And then there are some surprises in there too. So, and good surprises. So, absolutely. So, what starts off as a horrible accident and somebody who's not feeling like themselves on a bridge like, I mean, ends up bringing all these people together. So how, I read at the end of the book how you got the idea, but I kind of want you to like tell us a little bit how all this came about.
Sure. So my husband and I had been in Seattle. We were on vacation. So we'd gone to Seattle and we were driving down to Portland just to have dinner with my cousins. And so we were about an hour out of Portland and the traffic just all of a sudden stopped. We're sitting on the freeway, just stopped. And it's like, what is going on? So like any person with a phone, I'm like trying to figure out why is all the traffic stopped? Well, there had been a carjacking, which led to a shooting, which led to a fatality on one of the main bridges that spans the Columbia River, which is how you get from Washington into Oregon. And so the traffic's just, there's nowhere to go. So um, as we sat there in traffic, of course, my writer brain full of imaginative questions started thinking, what if something had happened on a major day? I mean, this was like the middle of a week in the middle of the day. It wasn't like rush hour traffic or anything. So I'm thinking, what if something had happened? And what if there were, people who this one thing, this one person's choice completely alters their life? Like if there was a woman in labor sitting there in all the vehicles, or, a kid fresh out of college on his way to his first interview, or somebody trying to get up to a hospital to say goodbye to a dying loved one. I mean, there's like all these impacts that this one person on this bridge had. I mean, ours was being late for dinner, not that big of a deal, but um so anyway, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So while we were driving back home, I said to my husband, "Hey, what do you think about this idea?" And so we just started kicking it around. And by the time I got home, I knew I wanted to write the story.
Wow.
And I knew I wanted it to be on Christmas Eve, because even if you don't celebrate Christmas, you are still caught up in all that last minute chaos of that day, the busyness of that day. And so that's why I decided to set it on Christmas Eve.
So how did you come up with the characters? Because you have multiple point of views, which are all unique.
They
Different
are
people
all
and they,
unique.
right?
Well, so well, I'll show you these. This is fun. So I have character cards for my book. So this is Archer. Archer is our policeman. Um, and Archer, I decided, well, if we're gonna have a wreck, there's gonna be a cop. I mean, there just is. That's the way it is. And so, and I was thinking about the person in crisis who is on the bridge, who would interact with him. And that's when Archer's character came to mind. Like they'd need someone skilled at negotiating to get the person in crisis off the bridge. And so that's where Archer's character came from. Rosalie is our little mama to be. And so that thought came from my original sitting stuck in traffic thought of what if there was a mom, a mama to be stuck here who goes into labor? Like, what would she do if she's stuck in the middle of not even close to an exit? Like, how would this work? So Rosalie became my mama to be, having a baby sooner than she planned on. Which brings up Nova.
Oh.
Nova, our nurse. I wanted, when I was thinking about having a expectant mother on the bridge that goes into labor, I'm like, she needs somebody. She can't do this by herself. So that's when I was like, okay, we need a nurse. And so Nova was just, oh, I love Nova. I think I don't tell the others, but I think she's my favorite character in this
Oh,
story. So
So selfless.
um,
Yeah.
so there's Nova, and then we have Carter. He's the gruff, grumpy
that's
tow truck
totally.
driver who has the heart of a marshmallow. I as we were watching, traffic start to move, and there actually was a tow truck that drove by, and I'm like, well, that would be a cool one to add
Uh-huh.
to my thoughts. And so that's where Carter the tow truck driver comes from. And then the last one was when I was thinking about somebody getting to a job interview. So that's where we get Ian from, and Ian and Kate have the little romantic element in the story. So
Cute.
I love the way they meet too. It's really, really sweet. But without going into too much of a spoiler, like all these lives are like attached to one another. They intermingle together and in a way that is so surprising, and yet it works so well. And I almost feel like at the end of the book, once you know all the details of the ending, I almost felt like going back to the beginning and rereading it to, like, because it's almost like, like in The Sixth Sense, when you discover that the guy was dead the whole time. You almost want to see the movie right again and see like, wait,
Just
did they give a hint anywhere and everything? Like I feel like the same way with your book. It's like, wait, was there a hint? Did I miss something? Did I just read it and it meant more or whatever? Like, awesome job. It was so good. I loved it. It was, oh,
Yeah.
I can't tell you enough about how happy you are at the end of that book. It's great.
Oh, thank you.
I agree with you that Nova is 100% the most selfless like person, character, the nurse that you want with you when you're going through things. Like I think that's
I think my heart almost fell out of my chest when she's like, "Oh, why don't you just drive her to the hospital?" I'm
I
like,
know.
terrifying for a minute there.
I know. Like I mean, and then they take her to the hospital and she says like it's okay, like I'll stay here until your husband gets here, like and she from reading your book, she has other things going on and yet she's totally willing to stay and like take her, calm her, which like all of us who have been pregnant know like that would be the most calming thing. Finally, you found somebody who knows what's going on. You want them with you if
You
your
want
husband
that person
can't.
with you. Yes.
Yeah,
And
so
it's
like,
all happening on Christmas Eve, and all these people are doing things that are selfless, on Christmas Eve.
oh yeah,
They're doing things that are, you know, I don't know. It was very, so sweet.
yeah, absolutely. So now is the Archer character part of a series now?
Well, I wouldn't mind writing more Archer books. I haven't started one. I was just kind of waiting to see how people reacted to The Bridge before I dove into writing more about Archer. I do have some ideas for future stories, but yeah, so that is totally on the table as an option.
I would totally vote for yes, please do that.
So is this a different kind of feel from your normal books? Are your normal romances more like the traditional romance, or just either one character as a like one main character, or point of views from like multiple characters, or is this something different than usual that you do? Or
The Bridge is different than what I usually write. It is different. I usually don't have like the person in crisis issue going on. I usually don't write those kinds of books. My romances usually have two points of view, the hero and the heroine. I usually do both of them. I do have a series. It's Love on the Beach, and so they're all set in Seaside, Oregon, and they have more of the I would say they're the most similar to The Bridge. They have a little mystery element and there's multiple points of view, but there is like the story is a romance. Like that's what's moving things forward is the romance, but there's all this other fun stuff thrown in. So yeah.
I love that.
that's fun. I've always wanted to go to Seaside. I think there is a real Seaside, Oregon, isn't there?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I
It's
was
so
like
fun.
research.
It is so fun.
Okay.
Gotta go out there. But I feel like The Bridge is almost like, yes, there is romance in it, but there's a lot of love, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of hope. I almost feel like this book is like a romance between the book and the reader, like almost, like
It's lovely.
it
Thank
is
you.
it is because like it's like you read the book and it's you that feels all the feels, like you're the one who's feeling the hope, the joy, the love. And I like it's a different kind of romance, but it's totally a romance in the way that it makes you feel. And I would love another side note. I would love an Ian and Kate book too.
I've
And
heard that from some of my art team. They're like,
oh, they're so
hey, these are the
sweet.
stories.
Yeah, and the dog too, which I had never heard of the breed either, and that was so funny.
Don't
Like
ask me to pronounce it.
that's what I was gonna say. Like it looked like a sneeze when I read it on the page. So it was a funny joke that you put in there. It was very funny. So one last thing before we go to the 10 questions, it's once the reader has read your book and they they close the page, the last page, and they put the book on their bedside table or the the coffee table, and they're left with that feeling. What is it? What's a feeling that you want your readers to have?
I think it's the three things that I try and incorporate in all my books: heart, humor, and especially hope. Because I feel like the world needs more hope. It really does. And so that is my goal with every book I write, is just to share a little hope.
Mission accomplished with this one. Absolutely. Yeah, you can tick that one off. It went perfectly. So,
So what are you working on now?
I actually have a new book coming out on October 30th in my Summer Creek series. It's called Favoring the Farmer. It's about a farmer who feels very stuck in a rut, and a girl from Los Angeles whose parents have died, and she has custody of her teenage sister. Sister's been getting into trouble, and so she inherits her aunt's house in Summer Creek, and it just happens to be down the road from Dean, our farmer. And so that's what that one's about. It was so much fun to write. The meet cute is hilarious. There involves a mop and a rolling pin, and anyway, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So that's the next one coming.
love
I
that.
love that you have fun with your books. I love it. So where on social media can people find you? You mentioned
They can
Facebook.
find me on my website at ShannaHatfield.com, and they can find my newsletter, sign up button there. They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, X, on Instagram, YouTube. I have all those connections too. They can find on my website if they just use that as a starting point.
Wonderful.
All right. So I guess we're done. Unfortunately, this was so much fun.
I
I
know.
wish we could have talked a little
Awesome.
bit more about the books, because
I know.
I forgot to mention, can I share it with you and you can decide if you want to put it in or not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every year, here, I'll grab my little thingy. I don't know if you can see it. The Read a Book, Help a Cowboy, I do every year. So this is my 12th year to do it. So from October 1st through Christmas Eve, I donate 10% of my net proceeds from all of my book sales to the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund. So there's a tab on my website that says Give Back, and it has all the information about that. But so it just started on the 1st, and it's just something that it's dear to my heart. I feel like these cowboys, rodeo cowboys, well, let me back. The crisis fund steps in if they get hurt while they're competing.
Okay.
And most of them can't get insurance because it is a dangerous lifestyle. And so when they're hurt, they're trying to cover their bills and whatever, and they don't compete, they don't earn anything. And so the crisis fund steps up and helps them, like whether it's paying their rent or mortgage or buying groceries or making sure the power stays on or helping them with their medical bills. Like, they are an amazing organization, and whatever you donate goes to the fund. Like, there's not all these admin fees that come out of it. And so I just have so enjoyed being able to support them. And so, like, this is my 12th year to do Read a Book, Help a Cowboy. So
Oh, read a
if you
book.
feel like that's something you want to incorporate, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that
Absolutely.
is something important. I mean, it's rare that people are willing to, to sponsor a group, and something that's important to your heart is, yeah, definitely would want
I
to.
have a series I write that's called Rodeo Romance, and I started it 12 years ago, and so actually 13. And so I was doing the research for that, and I had no idea what happened when they get hurt. Like, what happens then? They get hurt and they can't work. What happens? And so I started asking questions, and the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund, they were awesome to answer every question I had. And that's when I was like, I want to support this. How can I support this? So that's what I've been doing. But I'm very glad I can support them, because I feel like they give me a lot of ideas for my stories. Just my husband and I love to go to rodeos, and it's so much fun, but I feel like they're a special breed of human, the cowboys that do that. So I just like to support them in any way I can. So this is my way of doing that.
I love that.
I want to share one other thing with you ladies. I didn't know if Sammy told you I had a hardcover version of The Bridge.
No. Wait, can you put it
And
back up? Like that
so
cover is absolutely gorgeous.
it has, I put the character cards illustrations in the book.
Oh, so cute.
So each chapter has the different illustration, and it has a bonus chapter at the end that's not included in the other books.
Oh, definitely. Buy
It
that.
has an alternate cover too.
Oh, that is so cool. You know what? That's one of the nice things. You can do whatever you want. You put your character, like, I love that.
Yeah.
I like doing character like cards, like, or pictures of my characters, you know, because I like that visual when I do it. Yeah, that's awesome.
If you ladies ever decide you want to self-publish, just reach out to me. I would be happy to tell you what I know.
Oh my gosh, you're being so nice. Thank you so much.
Well,
We
you are
really
so
appreciate
nice
that.
to host me today. I so appreciate it.
Oh, it was our pleasure. That book was amazing, and you're such a sweetheart. My gosh, it's fantastic. Thank you.
You.
Well, I guess we have to say goodbye.
Well, it's been a treat being here with you two. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all that you do and the fact that you have 124 books for us to read. Like, I know your fans are probably so excited to have this book, and then the one in October. Was it October 30th?
October 30th, and then I have a new Christmas series that'll drop in November. There's 4 books in it.
Oh, so perfect. All right, so we're gonna say goodbye. If you haven't,
thank you, ladies, so much.
No problem. Thank you.
So
have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.